was going to CSUN at the time, and a good majority of my friends had started coming to this Bible study, and I had gotten invited, and I was like, okay, well, if it's like what I'm already experiencing, I don't want to be a part of that.
And ran into this Bible study that was going on, and it was totally different than what I grew up. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, B3, Hammond B3, drums, just a different type of worship. And I remember walking in for praise and worship, and it was somebody on the guitar, and I think it was Iman on the guitar, and somebody else was leading worship. And so it was a little bit of a culture shock to see black people having worship with a guitar. But I fell in love instantly.
I loved them the moment I saw them.
And instantly loved them. Like most people do when you meet them, you instantly connect with their heart. And so whatever they were a part of, I wanted to be a part of, and I wanted to support because I saw the love they had for each other and for people. And sometimes you meet people who are in ministry and leadership who don't really love people. They love the title, or they love all that comes with that, but they don't really have the heart for the people. And so when you see that, you want to support that.
Things begin to happen. The Bible study begins to grow. The students are coming out of the woodwork. 150 students. It's growing. And then the students say, we're coming to your house on Sunday. Have church. You've lost your mind. We had about 25 people show up. Our neighbors were real upset with us for Sunday morning, all the activity on the block. I preached. He led worship.
We just started having church with a few of us. And then I think a few of us invited a couple people. And those people invited other people. And those people invited other people.
And I think it just grew and developed from there.
We had outgrown the house, and now it's like, what do? Well, we look for a building.
Again, we're still talking about college students, people who are dependent on financial aid and part-time jobs to sustain themselves. So, and that's who supported the ministry. And so it was a huge leap of faith to go from a free space to one that requires rent, and so that in itself was a huge victory, a huge and part of our portfolio, if you will, of faith, and believing God to be our provider, to support the work that He had already ordained.
Pastor Dre's initial expectations were that, we might fill up, a couple people here, a couple people there, especially that first initial service, it's just going to be families that are going to come.
I come in, and when I walk in the door, I turn my head this way, and it is packed to the gill.
We packed out the church the first day that we were there. And, I kind of watched Pastor Dre as she got the realization that, okay, I need to increase my faith because God is obviously doing something way bigger than myself, way bigger than I could have ever imagined.
And so we got to Mike and said, welcome to
Hope's house. And it was like a rush.
It went crazy. Standing ovation was crazy.
OMG. Now this is scary. Now this is real.
But as things began to progress, when we were standing room only, and we had to go to 2 services in Van Nuys, and then 2 services were standing room only, and we knew we had to find a new. Those moments, you keep going. This is bigger than we think. Mm-hmm. This is more. This is more than we think.
Because it was never really about getting people to come so we could have the fastest growing church in the valley. It was more about creating a really safe space for people to pursue God in a very authentic way. And that's what caused it to grow so fast, because people are hungry for that.
And so off we go. We get keys. We go to church Sunday morning, and nobody knows this, right? So we preach. We rented a U-Haul truck. We don't tell anybody but a few people. And at the end of preaching, we get up and we tell them, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who can stay after church, we need you to roll your sleeves up because we're moving from here because we have a building on the other side of town, and today is moving day, and people once again go crazy.
So we did have to do the renovations without us being here just for safety reasons. So initially, we went to CSUN. We didn't think it was going to actually take as long as it did. So, we'll pop over here for a couple of weeks and then, we'll come right back. Well, that wasn't the case.
We started construction on that list that the city gave us, and we were moving through it. And then April of 2009,
This thing called recession? Is that
the recession
yeah.
took over. I was going to pitch to the owners, please let us out of this deal. We got this building in September of 2008, the day the government declares that the recession started. It's just impossible for us to do everything, and so I would like for you to let us out of this deal. And they said, what if we write you a check right now for $280,000? Excuse me. 7 days later, some friends call. They said, we want to come by and talk to you. And they said, and the Lord said to give you this. And it's a cashier's check for $250,000. So the next morning we go to the mailbox, and an entertainer friend who came here 3 times in life, but said the messages blessed her, tithed on a bonus check and sent a $30,000 check. And so $500,000 in 8 days in our hand.
A whole year, 60,000.
On our own.
And then
8 days.
growing versus being pushed by the wind of the Holy Spirit, I'd say. So whether we become a mega church is not the issue. Whether we plant thousands of churches is not the issue. Whether we're the biggest, baddest, fastest growing church, not the issue. If we're a healthy church, if we're healthy, then we'll bring forth life. That means we have to know who's among us, who's laboring among us. We have to have a care and a heart for them moving forward in their gift and calling. And as opposed to just seeing them as a number, and as long as you're paying your tithes and offerings and not causing trouble in church, you're good. That's not the point. The point is that you're flourishing in what God's called you to flourishing. That means we don't always resource you, but we will push you and encourage you and provide an environment for you to feel like I can do more.